Hey everyone, Robert and Kim here. Before we get into today's episode, we just wanted to tell you about some exciting things that are happening on our Patreon right now.
Presumably, if you've listened this far, you enjoy what we're doing here, and if you'd enjoy talking with other like-minded people about it, we invite you to join us at the $2 tier and gain access to our Discord.
Also, if you're looking for additional content from Robert and myself, might I direct you to our $5 tier, where Robert and I have been doing a bi-weekly, that's every other week, not twice a week, show called Behind the Masks, where we talk about history and literary influences that go into Shadows in the Smoke. And finally, the $7 tier gives you access to playtest documents for a game that Robert and I are currently writing.
This game will take the carved from Brindlewood mechanic system that the Between uses and use it to tell the story of a mysterious group of monster hunters throughout the course of the 20th century in New York City. Each chapter will advance the narrative by 10 to 20 years and provide entirely new genres of monsters to hunt,
as well as new playbooks, new threats, and new masterminds.
We have 3 playbooks, 4 threats, and 4 theatrophones available at the moment, with more coming out every month.
That is patreon.com/Kitten Marlowe. But really, just by listening to Kitten Marlowe at all, you're doing all of the support that we could possibly expect or ask for.
Word of mouth is what new podcasts live and die by, and your support means the world to us. And now, this week's episode.
Shadows in the Smoke is intended for mature audiences and may contain material that some people find disturbing. Please see the episode description for content warnings and listen with care.
As the morning creeps into afternoon, Mr. John, you and Simon Piedmont take to the streets of Chain Walk, while Miss Douglas, you sit down for a tea with Miss Beulah Thrum. She is a pale young woman. Today she is wearing a very pretty flower print dress. She has soft brown hair and doe-eyed brown eyes.
Well, my Simon said you were the most charming young lady. It is a pleasure to meet you, Miss Douglas.
That is incredibly kind of your husband-to-be to say. Thank you. And congratulations.
Thank you, you heard.
Yes.
Oh, thank you very, very much. I wish you could have seen the ring. It was very pretty.
I heard that it was whisked away precisely by what I wanted to talk to you about, the fish creature of Cremorne Gardens.
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, it all happened so quickly. I mostly remember being so scared for my Simon. When the creature leapt, he was completely shocked, poor thing. The color drained from his face entirely. I managed to wrench myself free from the thing's grasp and shake Simon out of his stupor, and then the two of us ran away.
I enjoy a woman who does stand up for herself. I would question, though, it was Simon who did say to us that he rescued you.
Yes, I have heard the story of him engaging in fisticuffs with my assailant. Let's just keep that a secret between us girls, shall we?
Why? Do you not want people to know that you are strong and independent and can fend for yourself?
You make some very interesting points, Miss Douglas. That is a very modern way of thinking that you have, but I do love Simon very much, and if it comforts him to imagine that he protected me in my hour of need, then I'm happy to indulge him that small bit of fantasy.
Miss Thrum, I have a strange request.
All right.
Would you dance with me?
Here?
Yes.
All right, yes. Here, let me see if I can put some music on. Shall you lead or I? I'm afraid I don't quite know how to.
Oh, don't worry. I will lead you wherever you'd like to go.
Mr. Lloyd and Miss Thanero, at the suggestion of Thomas Simpson, the two of you set off for Cremorne Gardens hedge maze. It's quite large, this maze. There are towering hedges that seem to block you off from the outside world. As you move through this space, you see stone benches and fountains in little open courtyards, the occasional squirrel that darts through the hedges with a rustle. I have to paint the scene. Unbeknownst to people entering it for the first time, the hedge maze is designed to scare patrons. What frightening display do you see when you turn a corner?
Around one of the corners of the hedge maze, it's easy to miss if you move past it quickly, but the hedges have been trimmed to look like a gaping maw with sharpened teeth ready to snatch up the next person walking through the maze.
At one crossroads, there is a mastiff tied to a stake, and the chain just short enough that if you turn to the right, he will bark at you, but the chain is just short enough that he can't reach you.
Throughout the garden, cleverly hidden around corners, are several stone statues of various non-native animals in an attack position. So like a lion carved, looking as if it's going to leap out at the patrons.
There are hidden doorways amongst the hedges that the employees who are in the know can use to seemingly go down a dead end and disappear.
Ina steps into the hedge maze and walks to the first crossroads and looks left and right and pauses to think strategically about which direction might yield their way best to the end of the maze.
Morgan was probably walking behind her, sort of taking her lead, but when she pauses to sort of think about, oh, what is the best way to go through here? He just keeps on walking forward past her as though something else is leading him through.
Ina sees this, looks at him, looks the direction she was going to go, and then gets up and starts to follow Rabbit instead.
His left hand is sort of brushing along the hedge as they walk through, occasionally plucking a little bit of a leaf or like an insect will crawl out and crawl across his fingers. But he really doesn't seem to be paying attention to what's going on. Morgan is walking as though in a daze and just sort of wandering through the maze.
Ina notices the change in demeanor and quickens her pace to catch up to him. You're walking awfully fast there, Rabbit.
Oh, I was in my own head there for a moment. Sorry, out of it now.
Are you all right?
There's a trick to mazes, they say, that if you leave your left hand on the wall and you just never let it leave, then eventually you'll either find your way to the exit or back where you came from. Now, in my experience, not exactly true. That relies on the maze to stay in the same place. But I figure here it's a safe enough way to sort of navigate the space.
Do you often encounter mazes that change while you are inside them?
Well, it's been a few years, but yeah, the best ones always do.
Well, let's hope it's not one of those then.
So yeah, just walking through, not really thinking about anything, just kind of blank look, just feeling his way through the maze. Rabbit continues on.
This feels like a day move to me I'll give it to you for sensitivity, since you're relying on other senses to navigate the maze. What are you afraid will happen if you fail?
He's afraid that they will lose the rest of their afternoon to wandering through and getting lost in this maze, and will have trouble getting back to the house at a reasonable time to prepare for the dark, necessary work they have to do tonight.
I'm going to put this roll at disadvantage because of a voice in your head. You are relying on your other senses to navigate this maze, and there is an entity within you that is very keen on wasting your time today.
I have a +2 in sensitivity, so the fact that I rolled a 5 in total is pretty embarrassing.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
That's bad.
Mr. John walking with Simon Piedmont down Chain Walk. It is a lovely little promenade down this street. You notice that painter who was painting on the balcony is still up there. He's glancing from his easel to you and then back to his easel as if you have now become a subject in the street scene that he is painting.
I give him a little wolf whistle.
The man on the balcony, who has a head of curly hair, he is quite handsome in a rakish way, like nods his head to you and continues working on his easel.
John mulls something over to himself and then looks over at Simon with a kind of sheepish grin. Mr. Piedmont, I have a strange request for you. Cigarillo?
Oh, yes. Just don't tell my Beulah, shall we?
It'll stay between us. Think the sea air will keep the better part of the smoke off your clothes.
Thank you, sir.
So you're a fan of the States, are you?
I have a fascination, yes, sir.
You ever been?
Quite a long ride across the ocean. Can't say I've ever had the money or the means to do it myself.
Sometimes it's not having the money that gives you the means. I've only made the destination once, and I wouldn't recommend it as a pleasure cruise to anybody if they can help it. At least not until ships get a little bit faster or the food gets a little bit better long term.
So how long have you been in our fair country, sir?
A few years now. I actually used to work up at the Cremorne Gardens when I first got off the boat.
Did you?
You're not the only one who was pleased to see a genuine American.
Did they put you to work in the bowling saloon?
That they did. Tom's a good sort. Well, he couldn't keep me on, you know. I don't like to stay in one spot too long.
Ah, I see. A adventurer at heart.
I mean, I traipsed all over the U.S. before I came over here. I've been to Pittsburgh myself. I spent most of my time actually in Allegheny. It's in Pennsylvania as well.
I see.
The irony there is I met a Scot working at a telegraph office. How about that? You meet an American up here in London, and I'm meeting Scots back there in Pennsylvania. He was a good sort, took care of his little brother, always reading, talking about investments and advancement. Really had an eye toward the future, that one. He thought if he could get a hold of enough money for himself, he'd set a better example for how it ought to be distributed. Most folks hoarding all that gold to themselves, well, you know, they're dragons. I liked him. We went for a couple walks after I'd sent my telegram. And I don't suppose you've ever had the fortune of seeing a porpentine.
I don't believe so, sir. What is that?
Funny little creatures, waddling around, all covered in bristly spines, like to poke you like a cactus.
Oh, sounds quite dangerous.
The irony is they don't actually do much danger themselves. They look mighty dangerous, but it's all just a facade. It's defense, you see, to keep folks away so they can get to the pine cones or whatever it is they eat. I don't suppose you know the number one cause of death for a porpentine.
Can't say I do, sir.
Fallen. See, they're so defended from natural predators, but they sleep in trees, and God didn't exactly breed them to be excellent climbers. So if you find yourself a dead porpentine, they'll be on their back. I learned this the hard way when me and Andrew were walking underneath the bough of a pine tree, and one of them done slipped and head right for him. I pushed him out of the way, and I got this for my efforts, and I take off my shirt jacket and undo my shirt, and I'm just standing there now shirtless. I glance toward the man on the balcony and display for him a constellation of pinpricks on my upper back.
Oh, my word. That's quite the scar, sir.
Not the worst I have, not by a long shot. Listen, friend, I understand the importance of trumping up your successes in front of the ladies and whatnot. My ward there, she's taken the wrong kind of attitude toward this fish creature, authentic or no. I'd appreciate it if you would dissuade her from returning to the scene looking for trouble, rather than encouraging her flights of fancy.
Yes, of course, sir. It's very dangerous for a young lady to go hunting for that creature by herself.
It absolutely is. Dangerous for ladies of all sorts, even one as brave as your fiancé and even one with as bricky protection as you and I.
Mr. John, go ahead and roll tall tales for me.
Please and thank you. 6 and 4 is 10, plus 2 is 12.
All right. So, on a hit, they fall for your charm and do as you wish, or reveal a clue, your choice.
I would like a clue, Camp, because I don't actually need him to try and convince Maisie to do something she's not going to do.
And on a 12 plus, they also give you a keepsake to remember them by. Ask another hunter what it is, and then write it down in your personal quarters. So what are we getting from Simon Piedmont?
Nat, you want to take this one?
Upon your passing beneath the balcony of this artist, he leans over the edge to show you the sketch that he's made of Mr. John, and Mr. Piedmont very kindly offers to buy it for you.
I love that.
Mighty kind of you, Simon.
The artist, at hearing you speak, he lights up. It's been several years since I've heard another American.
Well, ain't this your lucky day, Piedmont? And I kind of knock him in the chest. 2 Yanks for the price of one. Where you from, friend?
Massachusetts, friend. What about you?
I've been up to your neck of the woods, but I don't necessarily claim it. Truth told, Georgia born and bred. They wouldn't know it by my dialect.
It's a pleasure. James Whistler, sir.
Whistler, an absolute pleasure. This your studio or your place of residence as well?
I have been living here for a couple years, sir.
Well, you do mighty fine work, Mr. Whistler, if you don't mind my saying so, and it has been far too long since I've heard the dulcet tones of a proper accent, meaning no offense, Mr. Piedmont.
No, not at all, sir. I understand completely.
Don't suppose I might come calling on you one of these days just to reminisce about a proper country.
I would like that very much.
You know, something tells me I might like that as well. If you'll excuse us, we have to return to...
Yes, of course. Mr. John, you can go ahead and add a sketch from James Whistler to your personal quarters.
Hell yeah. And Simon and I head back toward his residence, and I steal a glance over my shoulder at the balcony.
James Whistler gives you a little wave and continues his sketching. Mr. John, as you and Simon Piedmont are walking back to Mr. Piedmont's flat, you and you alone notice something. I think you feel the hairs on the back of your neck stand up as you cast a glance down a shadowy alley. And from the darkness, you see large, glowing eyes peering at you with interest. That is a clue for the creature of Primorn Gardens. That is also, I want to mention, a clue that is exclusively available if a hunter is most beloved.
I don't say anything, but looking down at it, I growl.
The eyes widen, and then you hear the clatter of debris as it disappears further down the alleyway.
Sniff and readjust my jacket, which I've just returned to my person. Before we get back to Simon's flat, one more thing, Piedmont. I don't do nothing for nothing. I appreciate that sketch. Maybe you'd take this from me for your lady. I'd like to give him Dolly Merriweather's engagement ring. It's not one of my personal quarters items, but it is something that we have.
You took it off of her severed finger.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
To replace the one what got took.
This is beautiful, sir. I hope it was not yours. It belonged to a lady friend of yours.
Friend of a friend.
Thank you. My Beulah will be overjoyed to see this.
I hope so. Call me a softie, but I still do like encouraging young love when I can.
Let's go within the apartment of Simon Piedmont.
I was going to say, cut to Maisie just dipping her dramatically.
Maisie, steal your girl Douglas. What is happening here?
Maisie is delicately leading Beulah in a waltz and is a bit quiet at first, but then says to her, Beulah, if I may.
Yes, Maisie?
I know it's a bit unorthodox to dance with another lady, so I appreciate your grace in this moment. I simply wanted to show you how I live my life and remind you that there are people who would see your strength as a strength and not as a weakness or something to hide.
I suppose I was not raised to be as free-thinking as you, Miss Douglas, but I do admire how much fun you seem to be having, or how independent you are.
It is rather fun to just do what you like without worrying about what others think of you. I used to know a girl. You remind me very much of her, and I suppose this was more for me than it was for you. But I just wanted to ask you more, I suppose, about the creature that you saw. We heard a little bit about it from Simon. He said that it looked like a fish, attacked you, specifically took your engagement ring.
Yes, that all is correct.
Do you believe that it's real?
The creature?
There are those who say that it's a hoax, that it's simply someone pretending.
Well, I'm not ordinarily the sort of person who believes in fairy stories, but I imagine that there's a lot about the ocean that many people have never seen. Who knows what sort of creatures might be lurking beneath the water? Do you think it's real?
I hope so. I like to believe that there is more beneath the surface, as you say.
I see that.
Maisie's quiet for a little bit and just sort of holds Beulah a little bit closer and dances with her silently throughout the room.
The girl you knew who reminded you of me, how is she? What happened to her?
The truth is, I don't really know. She was taken from me, and I haven't looked for her since I got to London.
Oh no, I'm so sorry if I'm bringing up a bad memory.
It's all right. I did bring it up myself. It's been difficult to believe that I might be able to rectify things with her, and so I haven't tried.
Did the two of you have some sort of argument or disagreement?
No, her father.
Oh, I see.
It's just, he had other plans, so.
I'm very sorry to hear that, Miss Douglas.
But I hope that everything works out wonderfully for you and Simon. Clearly you love him very much, and he seems to feel the same.
Thank you. I do hope that you find your friend, should you like to.
I think I would.
So, Miss Douglas, after a vulnerable scene, you may clear a condition of your choice. What do you think makes the most sense here?
I think unsupported.
I like that.
I feel this is a moment where she feels very seen and supported by someone who doesn't really know her.
Yeah, and quite literally held as you're dancing. Finally, because you engaged in your vulnerable scene with a side character, we are going to be rolling the day move here. What are you afraid will happen if things go wrong in this moment?
I worry that Simon and One Shot John are going to come back and they are going to see this. And Simon's going to be mad at one or both of us and get a little possibly physically angry, considering his claims.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. Let's roll it. Gosh, what stat will this be with? I feel like it's composure to know when to end this dance right before Mr. John and Mr. Piedmont come in.
I like it.
I'll go ahead and invoke hesitant here. I feel like the reaction time may not be as quick as you'd like it to be.
Fair enough.
A little hesitant to let go of Beulah.
Lord. All right, here we go. Okay. That's going to be a 6. So I'll give you a mask and we'll bump that up to a mixed success.
Oh, lovely. Are you going to be giving me a mask of the past, a mask of the future, or the threat mask, the mask of revelry?
I'll give you a mask of the past.
Magnificent. Go ahead and read that prompt for us.
Narrate a flashback to your childhood when you met a human for the first time. The first time I met a human being, I don't remember exactly how old I was, but definitely too young to be going anywhere without my mother. We were communally raised, so I guess it was really everyone's responsibility to watch over everyone, but I had a habit of getting lost on purpose or by accident, who's to say. And I swam away chasing a group of herrings, bursting through their swirling bodies and trying to gobble up as many of them as I could before my mom tried to stop me. Distracted, I swam further and further away from our beach, through the rocks and into the bay. I barely had time to notice the large body overhead casting a shadow on the seafloor, or the fishing net scooping up my prey and me with them. I found myself yanked into the brisk sea air, crushed between the writhing slippery fish and promptly dumped onto the wooden slats of a small fishing vessel. Fish floundered beside me, drowning, or the opposite of drowning. I opened my eyes and saw an old, salty, wind-blasted, sun-soaked raisin of a man looking down at me. I had never seen a man before. Instinctively, when he reached out his hand, I tried to run, get over the edge of the skiff and back into the water, but he had legs, and he was bigger than me. He wrapped his blistered hands around my middle and lifted me up. I looked in his eyes, and much to my surprise, there was a kindness in them, and he spoke to me. He said I was much too small to be wandering off on my own, said I shouldn't be in the open waters, it was dangerous. And he lowered me gently back into the sea, and even dropped a fish in after me, told me to take it home for supper. I turned tail and I did stop swimming until I reached my mother's side.
Let's go to the hedge maze, please. Robert, on a miss, as you are leading Miss Thanero through the hedge maze, I'm going to rely on you to help me GM this, because I feel like what happens here is that the farther you tread into this maze, the demon is taking control of your words and your actions and is going to pose a danger to Miss Thanero. What all is happening here?
The first noticeable thing is that Rabbit's hand that he has been dragging along the hedge maze catches an errant thorn or briar and tears open the palm of his hand, leaving a little trail of blood along the hedge itself. Miss Thanero is behind him at the moment, but were she in front of him, she would see his eyes change color, not going dark like they did when he absorbed a Fey spirit so long ago, but rather red creeping in from the sclera, as though his eyes were incredibly bloodshot, and those veins sort of slowly crisscrossing themselves over the entire eye until the entire orbs are just these dark, deep red pools. Let's keep going this way. I've got a good feeling about this turn. he says, as he turns a deeper corner, breaking from his pattern of always going left and turning right instead.
Ina notices this turn. Would I hear anything different in Rabbit's voice? Does it still sound like you?
Well, Kim said the deeper we go in, the more the demon is taking over. So I think at this point, it still mostly sounds like Rabbit.
Okay. So if it mostly sounds like Rabbit, but I'm seeing a difference in your strategy and how we're supposed to be navigating this maze. So Ina takes a small step out of sync with Rabbit and slows her pace ever so slightly to allow a bit of space to build up between him. She is very aware that something is going on, and it is very likely the thing that we have been trying to prevent on this day. So she is trying to give herself time and space to prepare for what might be coming next. But she continues to follow him, because now not only is he a danger to Ina, he is potentially a danger to everyone in Cremorne Gardens. I see we're going right. Changed your mind, have you?
I had a good feeling. Come on, let's keep going. This way.
And Ina just continues to follow him.
The next noticeable change that Ina would see is that Rabbit's footsteps are no longer like careless but somewhat airy walk of a man halfway sleeping his way through a maze, but a sort of skip gets into them as a joy, a happiness that you have not really seen that much in Rabbit takes over the lightness of his feet. And he starts whistling to himself. A happy little tune, something almost nursery rhyme-like, but slightly off-key. Such a lovely day, isn't it? Such a wonderful day to be out and about with all these happy people, all these lovely families. And I think at this point, the change in his voice isn't a change in his actual timbre, but rather that same happiness that is in his feet starts to echo its way back up to his throat. And it is not just like happiness, it is joy. Come on, lovely. Let's keep going this way. Let's take a little stroll, you and I. I'm sure we can find our way out of here in no time.
Miss Douglas, mask spent. Mr. John and Mr. Piedmont walk into the flat just as the two of you separate. However, the small phonograph in this room is still playing, and I think the only complication here is that Mr. John, walking ahead of Mr. Piedmont, just spied the activity that was going on right before Mr. Piedmont entered and the two of you separated.
Hold up now. I don't want to track my dirty shoes all over your nice clean threshold here. And I buy them an extra moment and very loudly announce that.
Maisie, separates from Beulah, sort of straightens her clothes and goes to sit back down and picks up a teacup and a saucer and just pretends like that's what they've been doing this whole time.
Beulah as well.
Oh, hello, gentlemen. How was your walk?
Mighty fine. You've got a lovely patch of property here, and if you don't mind my saying so, quite the gentleman that's caught your eye.
Yes, my Simon is indeed quite the find. I was a very lucky girl,
She says as she sips her tea, but still just looks at Maisie.
Maisie just sips her tea and says, "We're very excited for the wedding, of course. Hopefully the affair is wonderful and full of love and time spent with family and friends."
As we love a wonderful affair.
Mr. Piedmont
clears his throat. Yes, well, this has been lovely meeting the two of you. If you will...
We've infringed on too much of your time already. Maisie, come along, let's give the couple their space.
It was so good to meet you, Miss Douglas.
Likewise. And Maisie does take her hand and just kind of gently presses like her hands around it in a friendly handhold.
the way girls do.
The way girls do.
The way girls do.
Miss Douglas, as you are leaving the scene, I do want to remind you that because you did a vulnerable scene, you do get to give me a clue for any of the active threats.
Yes. As Maisie holds Beulah's hand, she does notice across the back of Beulah's hand is an iridescent pattern of fish scales.
Lovely. And the two of you are once again outside of Mr. Piedmont's flat.
Come with me for a moment, Miss Douglas.
Where else would I go?
I mean, not directly back to Hargrave. Girl, just follow me for a sec. And I would like to lead Maisie toward a railing overlooking the Thames leading out into the ocean.
Maisie's a little hesitant getting close to the Thames right now, but she'll go.
Girl, you gotta learn to put a little bit of chutzpah behind your step.
Excuse me, is this coming from the man that I taught to dance?
Fair enough. And like when you taught me to dance, I'm getting off on the wrong foot. Listen, he chooses his words carefully, which is not a thing he has been in the habit of doing. Weren't entirely dishonest to that couple back there. I know I ain't got no rights to you, but you are my ward. I need you to understand, I may not know a lot about your world, but whatever your world is, I'm holding it sacrosanct, and it is precious to me. I will do everything in my power to protect you and it. I apologize for my gruffness and for my clumsy tongue behind clumsy teeth. I want you to know that I've got your back.
Maisie stares out at the river, not really looking at John during that, and grips the railing, and finally turns to him. I understand that my being younger and my being a lady might make you feel like you need to take care of me, and while I understand that the sentiment is true, I would like to be very clear that I am not your anything.
He goes to say something and swallows his words. Well, I hope someday you might be my friend.
We'll see.
We should be getting back. Sun's getting low. And I don't want to be out here at dusk. Not with everything that's been going on.
Indeed, yes, Mr. Lloyd and Miss Thanero. The sun is getting low, and the exit of this hedge maze is nowhere in sight.
Having reached a dead end, Morgan turns around, his face cracked open in the largest smile you have ever seen upon it. His eyes that deep, bloody red. And he tilts his head slightly as he says, "What is it that you're so afraid of, Miss Thanero? Afraid of being alone? Afraid that people will understand what you are? And why you'll never be welcome? Surely you're not afraid of little old me?" And with his bloodied hand, Morgan reaches into his pocket and pulls out a dagger. "Come now, let's have a little honest chat between friends."
Ina is watching this, and ever so slowly, while this version of Rabbit has been speaking, has been pulling off her gloves very slowly, revealing that Aegis-like tattoo on the palm of her hand. She tucks the gloves into the top hem of her skirt and ever so slightly comes up and just pulls that gold military cord that she likes to wear and starts to run it through her hands. And as she does so, using that glowing Aegis on her palm, she produces a gold spear from this cord, and a light version of Aegis manifests across her palm. "I don't think anyone here should be afraid but you."
"Well, that depends on what you're afraid of." And Rabbit takes the dagger and holds it to his own throat.
Ina lets Aegis disappear for a moment, puts both hands on the spear. Now, darling, let's not be rash. I have been around for eons and have power beyond all comprehension. Surely we can work something out.
"I think so, but I need a body. Yours might do just well."
Darling, there's only room for one in here.
All right, I'm going to step in here and say, this sounds like a night move. What are you afraid will happen if you fail here?
I don't feel like a god can necessarily be possessed, and she isn't a mortal body.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think possession is necessarily on the table. I think given what we are trying to do later, and that Rabbit has been put in her charge for the day to make sure he survives and this demon does not take him over, I think the biggest thing is that this demon will fully take him over. She will get the body she wants, and Rabbit will cease to exist.
Miss Thanero, it's worse than that. The complication I'm about to express here is not really a material one so much as an emotional one. I feel as though just the knowledge of losing Rabbit and the knowledge of failing so deeply in the task that you set out to do today will haunt you for the rest of eternity that you walk this earth.
Sick. Shame is powerful.
Yeah. This is a night move with vitality to try to be quicker and faster and stronger than Rabbit here.
I feel like this roll is pretty high stakes, so I would like to use a personal quarters item to give myself advantage on this roll.
Lovely. What are you thinking of using?
I think in this moment, knowing what it would mean to fail in such a way, to fail Rabbit, to fail her fellow hunters, to ultimately fail in who she is being a protector, I think in this moment her mind goes back to that box in her quarters that holds the heart of a former lover who carved it out at her command. And this is definitely an instance where we're seeing kind of a similar theme, a similar moment where a piece of her will be carved out, not at her command, but against her will if she fails Rabbit in this moment.
I love that. Go ahead and mark that personal quarters item and take this night move with vitality with advantage.
I rolled a 6, a 5, and a 1, and with vitality, that is a 12.
So, Miss Thanero, perhaps with some collaboration from Robert, I'd love to hear the conclusion of this scene, which ends with Miss Thanero successfully subduing the possessed Mr. Lloyd.
So Ina still being in this fighting stance with her spear pointed at Rabbit, very quickly in a practiced maneuver, slices the wrist that's holding the blade. The blade falls to the ground, and Ina, quick as lightning, runs over to Rabbit, pushing him down onto the ground. She holds up her hand, that light, almost string-like golden thread version of Aegis reappears, and she grabs it and pulls it apart into a net and slams it onto the ground. So she is now bodily on top of him, holding him under this net of golden thread that was Aegis a moment ago.
And with that holy presence on top of him, Rabbit lets out a loud, hideous cackle. There is a sudden burst of a sulfurous smell, and then his body goes limp as the demon is no longer in control.
Ina is looking at Rabbit, concerned. She smells the sulfur. She knows that the demon has been handled for the moment. She lets go of that shield, sits back, so she's kind of sitting on like his thighs at the moment, and looks at him, takes her hand glows gold, puts it on his chest, much like what she did when she was comforting the dying man in the prison, much like what she did with Mr. John in the tavern. And her whole hand from underneath kind of glows with this golden light as she tries to revive Rabbit.
Can you feel the souls of the people who your Aegis is working upon?
I think given that it was a 12 in this moment, I'm going to say yes. And feeling all of those souls leaves Ina with some questions about how all of these souls came to be in here. Where are these souls from? And what are you doing with all of them? But these are questions for another day.
Well, I think getting rid of this demon just jumped up in the priorities.
I would say so. Ina stands up, offers him a hand to pull him off the ground.
He, using his right hand, his unbloodied one, grabs it and pulls himself up. Pulls out a little handkerchief, bandages up the wound on his hand. Right, let's go back to the house and get the other two. See if we can't put a stop to this.
Yes, this can't go on any longer than it already has.
And a second pair leaves Chelsea Harbor to head back to Hargrave House as dusk falls over London.
Shadows in the Smoke is a Kitten Marlowe production. This episode was edited and produced by Kim Dalton and featured a theme song by Jake Pierle. You can find out more about us by visiting kittenmarlowe.com, signing up for our newsletter, or following us on socials. For Discord access, an exclusive behind-the-scenes show, and more, visit patreon.com/kittenmarlowe and join Anthony, Robin, Stanley, and all of our incredible Kitten Marlowe patrons in supporting artist-driven storytelling. Thanks for listening.